Hi everybody, my name is Rob Scott from UC Today, and in this session we're going to explore how you can migrate your enterprise UC to Microsoft Teams. Today I'm joined by Jason Wyatt, UC consultant at AudioCodes for EMEA. I'm also joined by Scott Middlebrooks, UC consultant at AudioCodes for North America, and Shane Hoey, UC consultant and Microsoft MVP for AudioCodes in the APAC region. So welcome and good morning everyone.
Hey Rob.
Hey Rob.
G'day. G'day.
Well, I appreciate it might not be good morning for everyone because we've got a real spread of everyone across the globe here. So just to kick off with, I think it'd be worthwhile just doing a round of introductions if possible. So how about Jason, could you just tell us a little bit about what you do for AudioCodes, please?
Okay, I mean that's quite an open thing really, because I come under as a technical marketing manager. I guess this is quite a new role. It's certainly a new role within sort of AudioCodes because I've historically come from a UC background, UC consultancy, and so there's kind of crossover of skills into kind of marketing with doing blog posts, writing articles, how-to guides, putting videos together. So my role within AudioCodes is actually really quite varied, but I'm still, I still go out and do this sort of UC consultancy for the large enterprises.
Great, thanks Jason and welcome. Scott, how about you?
Yeah, so like my colleagues Jason and Shane, I've been a UC consultant for over 20 years. My time here at AudioCodes is fairly short. Joined the company back in January. But have a long history in the industry and report up actually through the marketing organization. So what you're seeing here today is a lot of what I do is kind of evangelizing, talking to organizations about how they can migrate to Teams, what's involved. And then once it kind of converts over to that process, hand it over to our implementation engineers and the people, the feet on the street that actually take it from there.
Scott's our new boy.
Yep.
Go on.
Only the AudioCodes, buddy.
That's right.
Well, welcome. And Shane, over to you.
Yeah, so my role here is in APAC is basically on the Microsoft side of things. I look after everything from, I can jump in on tickets right through to projects and the whole lot. I'm sort of I guess you'd call me the third level support. And so I have a lot of fingers in a lot of pies over the, is that the right saying? Anyway, it doesn't matter. I basically do a lot of everything Teams at the moment.
Great
Anything
stuff.
Teams, yeah.
Great. Well, thanks for joining me, everyone. Today, we are going to be focusing on how you can migrate your enterprise unified communications to Microsoft Teams. So, as we all know, Microsoft Teams is very much a hot topic. So, but I thought it'd be, worthwhile just identifying really kind of and defining the state of the market at the moment when it comes to UC and what that actually means when thinking about migrating it to Microsoft or to a Microsoft Teams environment. So Scott, maybe could you take that one first and just tell us from your perspective what you're seeing currently?
Sure. So there's been a big interest in Microsoft UC, really dating back to say like LCS, OCS, Link, Skype, but now with Teams, we have really what is our first cloud unified communications and collaboration UC&C type of environment. It's a direct competitor to other things that are out in the market, as well as adding on kind of telephony, video conferencing. So it's a full stack of collaboration and communication solutions that we're seeing here from Microsoft. And when you couple that and combine that with all that is available in Office 365, you've got a really very mature, well-rounded offering for all of your collaboration, messaging, and communications needs.
And another thing I'd like to say too on that is the growth of Teams has been astronomical. We've got customers that a couple of years back we put onto Skype for Business, and they were coming from the legacy PABX type of scenario, and it was a process. And those same customers today, they're just migrating so quickly into Teams because Teams is very familiar with them because they're all using it from a consumer perspective. And I mean, that's one of the big things. As consumers, they're used to using sending IMs and video chats and everything now. So Teams is uptake of Teams has just been crazy.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Shane. Something that Jay has quoted a couple of times, and I'm leading this into you, Jay, because I don't have the number off the top of my head, but I think you've quoted daily active users a number of times, especially with the current situation in the world.
Yeah. Well, guys, I mean, in the beginning of March, I think the actual number of daily active users was 37 million. And I know a couple of weeks ago it was reported that it's gone up to 75 million. I think I saw a stat yesterday, so it was 77 million. I think what I'm really keen to see kind of going forward is how many of those organizations are just using Teams for the collaboration side of things and just for peer-to-peer contact with video and voice calling. I think there's going to be a huge wave of organizations. I'm certainly hoping there's a huge wave of organizations that post COVID, post lockdown, are actually then going to say, do you know what, we've used this, we like it, it's worked for us, it's given us that disaster recovery solution. So let's now embrace this and adopt this going forward. And we then start to see a huge sort of wave of organizations now then adopting that as their kind of full-time product.
I know here that in North America, prior to COVID, we weren't really seeing a whole lot of video adoption and weren't really seeing a big demand. It was more of a curiosity, but an actual demand for PSTN connectivity to Teams. How are you guys seeing that in your regions?
So, I mean, in EMEA, I actually was on a webinar yesterday with one of our partners, and they had some really, really interesting stats for across Europe. And I think generally there's been a 50% increase across the board in video communications.
With COVID related, you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I suppose that's already baked. Video's baked into the core product, isn't it? So we've got it's a collaboration platform ultimately. And today's discussion, we're talking more around the UC side. So is there, what's the demand like for making a voice call out of a Microsoft Teams environment and receiving an inbound call in?
Well, I think just to make sure we're clarifying that, right? So just as Jason was saying, communicating with your colleagues is built into the core product. So I can call Jay, I can call Shane without ever touching the PSTN. It's what happens if I need to talk to say like Rob, you on your cell phone, you're not in my organization, and I need to reach out to you on the cell phone. That's where I have to add in that PSTN connectivity that extends Teams past its kind of core connectivity, and where we go to options as far as calling plans and direct routing, so extending Teams into its out of its core offerings. And we're seeing, at least here in North America, a much greater demand for that that's COVID related. And as Jason was saying, I hope that it goes past that. And all indications are saying that organizations are embracing this work from anywhere, work with anything type of mentality. It's whether it's using a mobile device or a laptop or a tablet. I've got all of it right here at my fingertips with Teams.
Yeah. So, and another point on that, I was just going to say, is that the thing about voice is it's universal. So making PSTN calls is universal. Whereas you can't just choose, app A, app B, maybe you're using Microsoft Teams and then call another app. So
it's a good point.
Whereas the PSTN, it is universal. I can call anyone today. I can be traveling, and I can make that number. And that is another big driver, and especially in APAC, because we're dealing with some countries that their telecommunications is not, the greatest. So therefore, they rely on that PSTN infrastructure, and so from an internet perspective, I should say, but the PSTN is critical.
Yeah, absolutely right, Shane. And so that big challenge remains, doesn't it? Which is to get your phone system technology into your collaboration platform. And if that is Microsoft Teams, then Microsoft provide a solution called direct routing, and they also have calling plans, don't they, available if you want something off the shelf. But what kinds of challenges, Shane, are organizations experiencing when trying to move their corporate telephony, their phone system technology into a Teams environment?
So this is it's a challenge. There's a lot of things, and you've got to look at Teams adoption in two ways. You're looking at the companies that are doing just Teams for the UC side of things, and then Teams with the PSTN. And you've got to target both migrations or both deployments in a very different way. When we're coming across PSTN, we've got things like lifts, we've got things like alarms, analog devices, and common area phones. And there's all these sorts of devices that are still out there that, especially in some of these large organizations where the companies, they need to think about that. They need to do their auditing. They need to look at their bandwidth. And from a network layer, you've got to look at the network and look at are you going to be able to support Teams? It's real time. Whereas everything else they're doing today, if they're not, voice is always the only real time protocol. Do you know, if you get what I mean? Like, it just, email and that doesn't matter if it's a second late, but voice, it does. So there's a big infrastructure challenge there too.
So for me, it's a guarantee that Shane was going to give you a kind of helicopter technology view of, the challenges for taking onboarding or going over to Microsoft Teams. For me, it goes beyond that. It goes beyond the technology, because this is a cultural shift. This is a completely change in the way that people have worked. And it's not prescriptive. You can't just say to a worker, right, I'm taking your desk phone away and here's a headset and there's your new system and off you go. There's this whole kind of user adoption that has to take place. And that stems from understanding the organization, understanding what their needs are, going through the whole kind of stakeholder workshop process where you understand how the different parts of the organization interact with each other, through to champion building, so that you actually have people on the floor that are actually going to promote the product and actually, talk about it to their colleagues and talk about the benefits of what it's doing and how they're adopting the product. And that would obviously then fall to obviously what Shane was saying about doing the network readiness and the environmental readiness assessments as well, to make sure you've got the ingress and egress points, enough sufficient bandwidth, that your Wi-Fi is up to, being able to do video calling and voice calling over your standard network infrastructure. So, it's far more reaching than just being a technology issue, although clearly, technology does need to be taken into consideration.
Yeah, I think it comes down to it's everything that I agree with both of you, and it ultimately comes down to user experience, and that's because you whether you have the greatest foundations, all the technical bits are hammered out, and it's the best deployment that we've ever done. If you haven't done any of the user adoption, champion building, training aspects of it, perception is going to define reality. So it's preparing your users and the user experience combined with all of the great foundational technical infrastructure. Putting those two things together will yield your best results.
Yeah, so the adoption for Microsoft Teams has been huge, hasn't it? And therefore, if you're using Microsoft Teams for your day-to-day internal collaboration needs, external collaboration needs, video conferencing, meetings, chat and that kind of thing, surely there's a huge appetite to bring that corporate telephony to replace that old PBX that you might have screwed in the IT cabinet, just bake that into your day-to-day kind of Teams single pane of glass. Is that fair to say?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you would hope so, wouldn't you? But we know the way that businesses work and businesses operate, and some will naturally go back to what they know and what they've done before and just go, do you know what, that was okay, so it got us out of a hole. They might still continue to use Teams from a collaboration perspective and maybe for peer-to-peer kind of calling, but they might just go, we're not going to do anything right now, we're just going to stay as we are, we're back to work, let that kind of dust settle or whatever it might be. Which I think would be, a bit of a mistake. I'm all the kind of webinars that I'm doing at the moment, or the videos that I'm doing at the moment. What I'm saying is, okay, so you're now using Teams, you've got it in place. now let's do all the bits that you would have done ordinarily before to make sure that, when you do get back into normal operation, that, you can still continue to use it and actually embrace it and connect it to your current infrastructure.
Well, that leads us nicely on to AudioCodes Live for Teams, which is something that you've released recently. Jason, could you tell us a little bit more about how that connects those two worlds?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So AudioCodes Live for Microsoft Teams, in essence, it provides a managed service to fully voice enable Microsoft Teams. The core service includes Teams Direct Routing, which we provide. We've been there. We've done that right from the start with Microsoft. There's also the Microsoft Tenant Management, Users Lifecycle Management when it comes to the kind of moves, add, changes, and deletes. Plus the integration with on-premises IT and the legacy voice requirements that enterprises have. So all of it's to ensure a completely seamless migration to Microsoft Teams, and it can be deployed either in the cloud or on premises, or as we kind of anticipate, there's very much going to be a hybrid model, but obviously it's just going to depend on the customer's preferred kind of IT strategy. So one of the things that I really like, and this is I think this is just the way that the world is going, is that it's charged on a per user per month basis. So there's very much predictable pricing, which is ideal for organizations with their budget planning. And of course, it echoes the same sort of system that organizations have got with Microsoft, where they're used to paying a monthly subscription. So in addition to this, there's lots of other additional products that we can bolt onto this. As an example, if an organization wants IP phones, or they want conference devices, we can do all of those on again, per device, per month basis. If there's analog devices that we need to consider, we can charge out adding analog ports per device or per port per month. So all of it sort of builds up this complete sort of holistic solution, to a sort of per user, per device, per port, per month.
Yeah. So Jay, as you mentioned, like my favorite features of AudioCodes Live Teams, and I'm only reiterating because you did a great job summarizing it, is to make sure that it's abundantly clear, especially for my North American consumers, is that we're including the SBC, we're including the direct routing appliance. That's whether you need one or you need 100. Now, if you're a 200-person company or a 200,000 person company, that per user per month includes however many SBCs you need for your organization to enable direct routing for Teams, and then also the predictable budget per user per month, and then also something that just to again to kind of wrap it all up, that something that a lot of people will come to me and say, we love the kind of the reporting and the analytics that's built into the product, but it's sometimes can be a little bit clunky. Does your service include anything? Or can you do anything about that? And that's actually built into our live team service as well as you have a service delivery manager that will do reviews with you and help you understand how is your quality trending, what do we need to look at for continual service improvement. That's all built into this per user per month pricing.
The only thing I'd like to add on top of that, Scott, really is the fact that whilst we do have great relationships with some extremely large global enterprises, this has been designed and it's available as a white labeled managed service via our global community of partners. And that's really important to get across. We've not launched this product as a compete to our partners. This is very much for them to go, do you know what, we haven't got the skills to be able to do this because we're located, let's say, just in the US or just in the UK, and we've got this customer who's global. Can you support us with deploying Microsoft Teams globally for this organization? So it is important to put that out there, that it is a solution that we've aimed at our partner community.
So one of the things I was going to mention, and you just touched on it, is the global reach that we have, especially in here in APAC. You know, I can be working on a project and I'll be working with someone who doesn't speak English. And, you know, through AudioCodes, we've got people in all the locations. Our reach is massive. I sit here and I do work in some countries I've never even heard of before. And it's the, you know, being a part of a global team like this, and this is really an extension of AudioCodes as a global team. As you can see in these discussions, I'm more of a technical person. I love the technical, whereas Scott, you're more of the user adoption, and well, Jason, who knows? And but my point is that you're not just buying a service. You're not just buying a product. You're buying a service that comes with a lot of ability for a lot of different backgrounds and a lot of different, you know, I'm big on the automation. I love automating everything. And that's the other thing about this, scales really well. It's all about scale. And it, as like you said, it's from not one user, but it's, you know, from a couple of hundred users right up to 100,000, 200,000 users. It doesn't matter. It's all about scaling.
Great. Thanks, Shane. And so if I'm an organization, I'm looking at, you know, migrating my UC across to Microsoft Teams, how can I, again, get that journey started?
Reach out to one of our, so we have on our website within the live teams, we have schedule a discovery call. That would be one mechanism. So where you end up probably talking to one of the three of us to just kind of understand where are you in your journey. The live team, you know, is it live teams a good fit, or is it something else in our bag of tricks? But, you know, rest assured, no matter where you are in the journey, whether it's just starting out or maybe you're already kind of on that journey and you need some additional help, AudioCodes can be your partner. And we have, like Jay said, we have a large partner community that we can pull from. So wherever you are on this journey, just starting out, or you're looking to maybe have some help on user adoption or training, or the operation side, we got you covered.
There is also the option if you know, somebody watching this video wants to reach out to us directly, then they can just email uctalks@audiocodes.com, and that will actually come through to us. So all three of us, and obviously depending on the region, will dictate who actually responds to that email.
Great stuff. Well, I'm going to round that up now, but thanks, Jason, Scott, and Shane for joining me today. It's been great talking to you all.
You too, Rob.
Thanks for having us.
Yep, thank you ever so much, Rob.
Thanks for everyone for tuning in. And if you've enjoyed today's session, don't forget to give us a quick like or a share. And thanks for watching.